I'm Sherry George from Liberty Mission Farms, and today I'm going to show you about something really neat. It's how to preserve eggs without freezing them or refrigeration of any kind, and you can preserve them for up to a year, maybe even longer. I've never needed to preserve an egg longer than a year, but this method is called water glassing. Now, why would you want to preserve your eggs? Well, for us, we have a lot of hens. For a while we had over 150 hens. So during our peak season we would get a lot of eggs in the summer, sometimes more than we could even sell. But then in the winter time, when demand for eggs would go up and the hens would slow down on their laying, and we may not have enough eggs for ourselves and for others. So if you have your own hens, you've probably seen that. Sometimes you have too many eggs and then in the winter you don't have enough. So this gives you a way to preserve some of your eggs during your peak season and then have them available to you in the winter just like they were fresh. Or if you're buying from a farmer, you may have experienced that at certain times of year the farmer just doesn't have enough eggs. So during those times, in the winter usually that is, you can have preserved some of your eggs, buying more from the farmer when he has a lot available. That helps out the farmer too. And then just preserve them, so in the winter when the farmer doesn't have eggs available, or maybe you're just busy and you can't get to the farmer as often, you can go right down to your basement or your storage area and you've got, just like you just got them fresh, all preserved. So those are just a couple of reasons why you might want to preserve eggs. And you can do this anywhere. You can live in the city or in the country. You don't need a lot of space. It's just really simple. So I'm going to show you how to do this process. You only need a couple of ingredients. You just need water, and it can be just filtered water or you can use distilled water. I'm using a filtered water here. We have a well, so it has a lot of minerals in it. I just like to use a filtered water. If you are using water and you're on the city, you're getting city water, you'll want to use some type of filter probably, because it likely has chlorine in it, so you probably don't want your eggs sitting in that chlorinated water. So just any kind of water, room temperature or cold water, really doesn't matter. And then you'll need some hydrated lime. Now, what is hydrated lime? It's a natural substance. It's not a toxic chemical. It's not a synthetic chemical. And you can get hydrated lime just about anywhere, any of your big box stores in the masonry areas. They use it for masonry work. But what it is it's just ground up oyster shell or ground up limestone that's been put through a heating process and then had water added to it. So it's called hydrated lime. And you don't want to go to the agriculture section. You don't want that kind of lime. You want to go to the masonry section or look for it online. And you only need 1 ounce of hydrated lime for every quart of water. Now, normally when I would be preserving my eggs, I would use a big 5-gallon bucket and I'll put a lot of eggs in it. But just for purposes of demonstration today, I'm using just a 1 quart jar just to show you what it looks like. But normally I would be doing this in a big bucket, which I'll show you in just a little bit. But I would, for every 1 ounce, and you want to weigh by weight, so if you have a kitchen scale, just 1 ounce for every 1 quart of water. So if you're using 5 quarts of water, you would want 5 ounces by weight of hydrated lime. And then let's just talk about the eggs for a minute. This will not work with store-bought eggs. You want to have eggs fresh from your own hens or fresh from a farmer, and you want them to be clean. So if they don't come out of the nest box clean and you have to wash them, then you won't want to use those eggs for this process. Instead, you want to look for those eggs in the nest box that are clean, or if you're buying from a farmer, you want to ask him to not wash your eggs. Once the eggs are washed, there's a protective bloom that is washed off of them. There's a protective coating that is on eggs naturally, and if you wash that off, then they won't do well with the water glassing because the shell is so porous. Some of that will leak in through the shell more easily. So you want unwashed, clean eggs. So if you're getting them from a farmer, just ask the farmer, could he please not wash your eggs? Maybe give you some clean eggs that are not washed so you can preserve them this way. So what I have are the eggs that have come out of our nest boxes clean. If I find any debris or anything on them, I'm going to wash them and then just put those in the refrigerator instead of using this process. But I find my eggs that are clean and I'm going to preserve these eggs. So all I'm going to do is take my 1 ounce of hydrated lime and put it in my 1 quart of water. It's a little less than a quart, so I was leaving some space. And I'm just going to stir it up. You can see it getting kind of white, a little bit of dust here. You don't want to breathe that dust in from the hydrated lime. I'm just going to mix it up really well. Okay. And then I'm just going to take my eggs and really gently just place them inside the water. And if I was using a big bucket, I would just carefully place each egg inside the water until I filled it up. You want to make sure that the water is always staying above the eggs. So if you have a big bucket and you add some and then you want to add some more later and you see that the water level is not covering the eggs, you can mix up some more of this mix and just pour it right on top, and you can just leave them there. Now, I have some eggs downstairs that I have preserved, and I'll show you those in just a minute. You can preserve these for up to 8 months with pretty much 100% success rate, and some people have said that they have preserved their eggs for as long as 2 years. I've never needed to preserve our eggs that long because we use them up so quickly here, but this is really all you need to do. Now let me show you some of the eggs that we have in the basement. Okay, I'm down here in our storage room in the basement. It's a room where we keep a lot of our eggs that we're not refrigerating, or keep a lot of our canned goods or preserved items. And this is also where I keep the eggs that I have water glassed from last year. So these are from August of 2019, where we had a peak where we hit a lot of eggs. We're getting 11 or 12 dozen eggs a day, and so that's when I decided to go ahead and store some of them. So in the winter, when the demand for eggs was great and we were not getting as many, then I have eggs down here I can go to. So I put them here in a place where they won't need to be moved, and I put a lid and some plastic just to make sure that I don't get evaporation or anything crawling or getting in. So you can kind of see the eggs are underneath there, a little bit of a coating. So I'm just going to take one out, kind of move this coating away, and I can just take out an egg, and I'll just take a couple of these upstairs, and then just taking the ones that I need. I'll leave the rest in there and they'll be just fine. I'll put the plastic back and put the lid back on, and I'll take those upstairs. Okay, so this is an egg that I've taken out of our storage. It was from August of last year, so it's almost 8 months old. And all you want to do when you take them out is just rinse them really well to get any of the solution off of them. You probably don't want that solution in your food. So I've rinsed this egg really well, and let me just show you what it looks like. Look at that. So it's just as good as a fresh egg. I think the only difference that I've noticed is after they've been in storage for 8 months, the white gets a little bit less firm and the yellow a little bit less firm as well, the yolk. So if you wanted to make fried eggs, for example, this might not be the best choice because the yolk will break really easily. I find that to be true with grocery store eggs too. And I'm just used to farm fresh eggs, which are pretty firm and hold up really well. But these are great this way for anything that is going to call for scrambled eggs, or if you're going to do any baking or make a casserole, something like that. These are really great for just about everything else. So I hope you found this helpful, and I hope you'll share this information with your children and the next generation, because with technology that we've had, we've really just lost a lot of these great skills that our great-grandmothers used to use, and are so helpful and useful for just about any kitchen. So I hope you enjoyed this, and if you try it, feel free to post in the comments and let us know how it went. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.